Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So today I got a fun and exciting episode for you guys today because I'm going to be talking about the Super Nintendo resurgence we've seen in 2025. Because as the year gets on and we're getting close to 2026, there's been so many fun innovations on the Super Nintendo side of things in this year that I've talked about on the channel and kind of want to just recap into a very fun video. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But in basically every video, I've been talking about 2025 being the year of Sega. We have the Sega Saturn core, we've had a ton of fun ROM hacks, new innovations across basically every Sega platform out there. But Nintendo definitely had its own fun year, and we're here to talk about all that. Getting started right off the top, Rumble support coming to Super Nintendo as a platform has been absolutely amazing. Kanto Wantu has made a ton of fun Rumble ROM hacks that absolutely make the games feel fresh and new. That is all down to limited run games actually coming up with the code to get Rumble in their Super Nintendo remake of Doom. And this has just been something that's made a lot of these games feel super new and super fresh, because Rumble didn't exist back in the Super Nintendo days. We had to wait for N64 and PlayStation 1 era to get stuff like that, but it absolutely gives these games a new level of immersion. And now that the code is out there and the controllers are kind of trickling out as well, you're going to be having a very rumbly time in 2026 when it comes to Super Nintendo, and I absolutely love that. And I have not one but two of these controllers now because Limited Run Games sent me a new prototype to test because some of the original controllers would cause some sync issues with older power supplies. I mentioned that in the initial video, and thankfully now that's a condition that's been 100% alleviated. I have no issues whatsoever with the second revision of the prototype controller. And even though you can use other Rumble controllers to be able to play these games on Mr. FPGA or otherwise, honestly using this controller has been a ton of fun and I've had a really good time with it. So hopefully soon it's something you're going to be able to hold in your hands and experience yourself, because these Rumble motors definitely do a really good job, and it really has been a fun innovation on the Super Nintendo side of things in 2025. Because don't get me wrong, I drag Nintendo a lot for their lawsuits, but I absolutely love the company as far as their games are concerned, and fans have definitely been keeping those alive this year, because Super Mario World with full Rumble is a completely new experience that you have to check out. And speaking of limited run games, it is so much fun to see this Super FX3 chip and this cartridge kind of going on. There's been a lot of hardware innovations as well, and I love the companies are going back in and thinking to themselves, how can we improve an experience that released all the way back in the 90s for Super Nintendo? And I am looking forward to seeing what else can be done with a Super FX3 design. I'm not sure if that source code is going to make it out like the Rumble code did, but I certainly hope it does go to the community at some point in time, because think of all of the fun new Super Nintendo games we could get with some increased horsepower under the hood. Seeing stuff like this definitely makes me happy. It was a fun time to be able to check it out, and it really does make me optimistic that in years to come we're going to see so many fun new Super Nintendo evolutions out there. Because like I said again, I've been hyping Sega up all year long, but I do love Super Nintendo, so I figured it was worth talking about. And if you haven't actually seen any of these Doom videos yet, the success and actual technical prowess they're getting out of this new cartridge absolutely blows the original Super Nintendo version out of the water. It is just night and day different, and it goes to show just how much coding knowledge is out there now that the Super Nintendo has been off the actual retail store shelves for forever. As years go on, more people learn more about the hardware, they learn how to get more horsepower out of it, and they learn how to actually engineer new experiences in hardware to make it even better. And that is just exciting to me, because there is a very specific aesthetic on that 16-bit Super Nintendo look and sound, and being able to run something like Doom closer to the PC version than the Super Nintendo version that came out originally is just 10 out of 10 fun in my experience. You can leave me a comment down below and you tell me, Rumble on Super Nintendo, something you're interested in or something you might skip over, because it is one of those things. It is a small change on paper, but in practice absolutely is so much fun to be had, and I can't wait to see new developers make new games with Rumble kind of as a focus feature versus actually going in and adding Rumble to other games. But Kanto Wantu has been doing an amazing job adding Rumble to a whole different list of games. It really does make them feel so unique and so interesting, and it kind of feels like a Bizarre World version of a game you played back in the day, and that is just straight up 10 out of 10 amazing in my book. Now moving over to the NES to Super Nintendo port category, we've seen a lot of fun work from both Infidelity as well as Rumble Mints in 2025, and I can't wait to see more of these things happen in 2026, because on the Super Nintendo side of things, we do have the MSU1 enhancement chip, which isn't really a chip that ever existed, it is just a set of code, but being able to see something like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out run on Super Nintendo with a full motion video intro as well as actual Redbook style audio, it is just mind-blowing, and I would say that this port right here, 10 out of 10 any day of the week, and probably a 69 out of 10 on Sundays. All jokes aside, seeing this level of commitment to bring games from NES to Super Nintendo and fix basically everything that was wrong with them in some way, shape, or form back in the day, I just absolutely love it. And when I mean the MSU1 enhancements with a video or a vibe, and they sound so incredibly good, the intro to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out on this new version absolutely blew me away, so go ahead and watch, and I'll be right back. I mean, Infidelity just absolutely blew me away with that intro. He did an amazing job with this entire port, and it's one of those things. People like to leave comments down below and say, what is the point of this? The point is there are developers and fans out there of this hardware that just want to give you something new to play, and that should definitely be something we celebrate anytime. But moving over to Rumble Mints, he just released his beta of the Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest port to Super Nintendo, and at the time of recording this, the actual full version isn't out yet, but we're going to be getting a ton of enhancements, a ton of different options, color palettes, and this is based on the improved translation as well, so hopefully it won't be as confusing and obtuse as the original game. And you're also going to get a full MSU1 soundtrack as well, and this just makes me optimistic to think that one day we're going to see Castlevania 3 on Super Nintendo as well. But these ports definitely have been a lot of fun because it not only gives you new games to play on Super Nintendo, but it makes some of those NES originals that much better. So leave me a comment down below and you tell me if you could snap your fingers and make one game appear as an MSU1 port to Super Nintendo from NES, which one would it be? Because I always love hearing what you guys think would be good out there and kind of just going through all of those different recommendations and even making me think what could be good. But this again is just a new innovation in Super Nintendo. Sure, it's existed in years past, but 2025 really felt like the year of the port from NES to Super Nintendo, and I hope more developers get into that because it seems like Infidelity and Rumble Mints trade back and forth with their release schedule, which definitely keeps us in a lot of these. And if I remember, I will leave a link in the description below to all the other MSU1 ports we got this year. I'm just talking about the two that were my favorite, one from Rumble Mints and one from Infidelity. But it's one of those things, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to actually convert these things over, and don't forget developers out there doing this for absolutely free just so you can have a good time. That really is something I've seen more of in the Nintendo, at least on the Super Nintendo side of the community this year. A lot of fun new innovations, whether they come from fan developers like Infidelity, Can't Want To, or Rumble Mints, or they even come from companies like Limited Run Games, allowing that entire Rumble source code to be out there. It is just amazing to see. Now on the Fast ROM side of things, we just recently got a Fast ROM for Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and I did a specific video on the concept of Fast ROMs, but these things keep happening, we keep getting more of them, and it definitely helps you enjoy some of your favorite Super Nintendo games in a new way. And honestly, they don't change the soundtrack speed. I've been getting a lot of questions about that, and I'm not sure why, so listen, and I'll be right back. So you can clearly tell the Pocky and Rocky soundtrack there sounds exactly like it should speed-wise, and I think what trips up some commenters and people that ask me questions thinking that it's going to make the game run fast in the sound department is fast ROMs are basically explained to people as a faster way to run the game. So they hear that, they think that everything is going to be running faster, including the sound. All that fast ROM really does is alleviate the slowdown in a lot of games, and some of the games out there definitely could use their slowdown alleviated. So it has been a big thing in years past, but in 2025 we've been getting some awesome ones. And again, just like everything else, it allows for you to enjoy Super Nintendo in a new way. It doesn't change the games whatsoever, it just removes the slowdown almost entirely, giving you a fresher way to play. But there's just been so much fun on the Super Nintendo side of things this year, because I do like to poke fun at Nintendo in videos about all of their insane lawsuits. I figured I would also write a love letter to the Super Nintendo towards the end of the year, showing you just what happened in 2025 and what might be in store for next year. But leave me a comment down below and you tell me if there's one thing you'd want to see happen for Super Nintendo in 2026, what would it be? For me, it would be Kosam the Great finishing the Super Nintendo CD and then somehow figuring out how to make it run in Mr. FPGA. But we're done. Hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.